I'm not gonna lie, I probably added a little bit too much oyster sauce. Hey, that's life.
I'm Andrew Wong, 2 Michelin star chef, and I'm going to show you the secrets of the Chinese kitchen.
I'm going to show you one of my favorite dishes from my dad's restaurant, which is crispy fried noodles with strings of chicken and mixed vegetables in a thick oyster sauce gravy. So the key to this dish, number one, is in the idea of the velveting. Once you master the art of velveting, stir frying becomes a whole new platform to your repertoire for you to do magical things within Chinese recipes. Fundamentally, velveting is marination, and marination is about tenderizing. Velveting adds the mouthfeel aspect to it on top. So all of it really is about the idea of using an acid or an alkali in order to break down protein, in order to tenderize. So first things first, we're gonna try to cut this into slices and then into small julienne. If you do freeze it when you first buy it from the supermarket, you let it thaw out a little bit, and when it's partially defrosted, then begin to cut. If you start to cut it when it's fully defrosted, it just makes your life a little bit more difficult. What we're gonna do, we're gonna cut it into slices first. And then we're gonna cut it into slices. You know, I remember growing up, me and my sister both, neither of us really particularly enjoyed working in a restaurant. My dad used to be really big on forcing us to go and work front of house, and I never quite realized why. And he always, he used to always say, that learning to build relationships with people and connect with people is probably the most important skill, unless you're Einstein or you're going to become a doctor or an academic. Actually, learning to get along with people is probably quite an important skill. So, the chicken's been cut. The first things first, it's going to sound very strange, but this is water. Just last time I put the wrong thing in, so I'm going to put it in. Meat, protein, has the most incredible ability to absorb more water. And actually in Chinese cuisine, in doing this process, you're effectively adding moisture back into the meat. Keep on moving it with your hand until all the liquid goes inside the chicken. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna add a bit of salt now. And as you put the salt in, number one, it's gonna season the chicken slightly, but actually the other thing it's gonna do is gonna get the chicken to absorb even more liquid. After that, I'm gonna add a little bit of bicarb. So the bicarb is basically an alkali powder. So it's a very, very high pH. And what that does with proteins, it begins to break down the proteins. The same way that yogurt would, for example, exactly the same. So yogurt, an alkali, high in pH, break down protein. So now we've done the science part. Now it's time for the flavor part. So the first thing is we're gonna add the Chinese rice wine. And we're gonna add some soy sauce. So this is light soy sauce. So that's been added. So you can also tell that as we've made this liquid more salty, the chicken has absorbed more. Now we need to go back to the science part, and we need to basically seal this meat. And we seal this meat using potato starch. So here we're gonna add 10 grams of potato starch. By adding this potato starch to the meat and then rolling it through hot oil, what you're gonna do is you're gonna seal the potato starch around the outside of the protein, which means that you're no longer frying, you're steaming the inside. So, we're gonna cover it in oil. Now that can now be left in your fridge an hour. After some time, you can see that the chicken has absorbed all the ingredients that we added to it, and it's also dried out. Next step, the crispy noodles. So we've blanched the noodles, they're chilled, they're ready to make into a crispy noodle cake. Heat up a pan, just a really thin layer of oil. If it was a wok, I would have had to season it twice probably. Make sure the pan is super clean before I add the noodles in, otherwise it will 100% stick. So the pan's getting hot, we're gonna add in the noodles, and we're gonna basically spread the noodles out to make a noodle cake. It doesn't have to be neat. If anything, if you were to ask me, the very best versions I've had of this dish are the ones where it's a bit It's a bit Picasso-y, you know, it's a bit Kandinsky. It kind of goes all over the place, a bit wacky. It's having those multiple textual experiences that make this dish even more special. Mouthfeel is probably the single most important thing when it comes to Chinese cookery. It is the idea that eating isn't just about flavor. It is about the fact that texture complements flavor. It enhances and it accentuates the experience of certain flavors. When I was learning in China, people used to always talk about prawns being crunchy. And I was like, how can a prawn be crunchy? And so I started looking up, what does that word actually mean? Is it a mistranslation? It's not, it's the idea that with a really fresh prawn, when you bite into it, there's like a tick when you bite just through the middle of the prawn. And that's what they're referring to. So we've cooked this. In the restaurant, we flipped it over like a pancake. Because I don't want to embarrass myself in front of you all, I'm just going to do it neatly with a palette knife. So the level of crispiness is completely a personal preference, but it is important that the middle of it, when you put your hand into it, it should be a soft noodle, in my opinion. So it's done now. I'm gonna take it out. And there's our noodle cake. Next step, we're gonna cook the marinated chicken that we prepared. Oil in the pan. What you must remember is this isn't stir frying, huh? This is basically sealing. Very different. The other thing is that you don't want to turn the heat too high. If there's any color on it, your temperature's probably been a little bit too hot. And you can see here, the other aspect of the Chinese kitchen that we're really celebrating here is the idea of cutting things nicely. When I talk to a lot of chefs, there's this big emphasis on butchery. Oh, I need to be able to take a whole cow and take the legs off and take the eyeballs out and take the ears out neatly. But actually, what about once you've got the meat? How about cutting that nicely? Instead of just hacking away at it after you've got these great, incredible bits of lean meat out there. The whole wing rib's been taken out. Yeah, but if you're making a stir fry, you cut it like crap. Have you not ruined all that good work that the butcher's done for you beforehand? I'm obsessed with watching these videos of Chinese cutting techniques. There's this one where they get like I think it's a bit of a chicken heart or something, where they cut it, and then it opens up into like, they call it a phoenix. And it's just like, he does it so quickly and so precisely. It's magical. We have the chicken, passed through some oil to just seal the outside. You can see that the potato starch has given the outside a little coating. What it's also going to do is going to give the sauce some viscosity. Just to show you guys how we cut this veg, very, very simply. Take the seeds out. People put a lot of pressure on themselves all the time when you're cooking. Oh, you have to follow the recipe, you can't change anything and you can't swap anything. But with regards to the vegetable, if you're doing a stir fry, it really doesn't matter what vegetable you're using. Stir fry is traditionally really the best way to empty out all the rubbish in your fridge. This obsession, oh, that doesn't go with that, asparagus doesn't go with this, a prawn doesn't go with this. I guarantee you, if you get any two ingredients and you Google them, there will be one cuisine in the world somewhere where that combination is a staple. I learned the other day that in Ethiopia, apparently like when you eat, the staple is to have a banana on the side as a condiment to that dish. You know, I remember when Mr. Poon, he was telling me one of his favorite recipes on a restaurant, and it was prawn with banana. I think I swallowed some sick when he told me. But then when you think about it, well, I get it. Toothpaste and orange juice, no. But besides that, actually, when you think about it with stir frying, you can put any ingredient. Once I put the oyster sauce in, once I put the chicken powder in, once I put all the other seasonings and the umami carriers into it, you can put anything into it, anything. So don't be shy. Now, today we're gonna put some woody fungus. Woody fungus, it's called a woody fungus because it looks like an ear. So we're gonna cut that up into a small julienne. Does it really carry that much flavor? Not really, but it has an incredible texture. The other one, our favorite, shiitake mushroom. I'm gonna squeeze it out. All you haters out there, I don't care. For this particular dish, I'm just gonna cut the mushroom in half first, just so that I can cut a neater julienne. All right, so here we go. We are ready to stir fry. What are we trying to create? We are creating a stir fry number one, but it's gonna be one that has a gravy. Heating up the oil. We're gonna add a little bit of garlic. I'm using fresh garlic for this recipe. You can use dried, rehydrated garlic that I love to use in the restaurant. We will show you guys how to make that another day. Then we're gonna add the bean sprouts. We're gonna add some pepper, some green chili, woody fungus, chicken powder, oyster sauce, the chicken in. This dish by itself now is the most delicious chicken stir fry. Even if you were to end the dish like this, because we're making a noodle gravy dish, I'm gonna add the stock in now. Basically, it oozes back into the noodle to rehydrate some of the dried bits that might have been fried a little bit. Again, just for the color, I'm just gonna add a little bit of dark soy sauce. So the sauce is ready. I'm gonna thicken it up. Add a little bit more pepper. That's it, it's ready to go. Finish it off with a little bit of sesame oil. Sesame oil just adds that toasted note to it. And we are good to go. So we put our noodle cake here. Our chicken mixture over the top. And there we go. One of my favorite dishes from my parents' restaurant, toasted noodle with chicken. So when you eat this dish, the way I like to eat it is I like to take the noodles from the outside, bring it into the middle, so you get the crispy ones from the outside and a little bit of the softer ones from the inside. I'm not gonna lie, I probably added a little bit too much oyster sauce. Slightly over seasoned, but hey, that's life. But the umami is incredible and the textures, multiple textures. From the velveting, from the crunchiness of the noodles, to the shiitake mushrooms, to the softer part of the noodles that have soaked up the gravy. It really is a textural kind of roller coaster ride.